Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now look at this for a shawl. Look at this for a baby shawl. This whole shawl is 38 inches wide across. It's 38 inches wide and it's made up from cross stitch. Some of it is triple, treble cross stitches. That means it's wrapped around the hook 3 times. And I've got some just double trebles here, and that's just twice around your hook. It just shows you what you can do with these stitches. This is a beautiful crocheted shawl. It is called a magic circle. Now I love doing this because it pulls the centre of the crochet really tight. Now you take the tail end of your yarn and put it in the front of your hand. Take the rest of your working yarn around the back of your hand and just cross it over like that. Take your hook, that's your tail end, follow it up, put it under that tail end side and just pull this end through like that. Just pull your tail a little bit, grab your working yarn and just pull it in. And you've got this big lasso. You've got this big lasso like that. Just pull it a little bit tighter. Don't need it that big. So there we go. We've got our little magic ring. So once we've done our crochet into the middle of that, we're going to pull that and pull it tight. So we'll zoom in one more little bit. What we're going to do, the stitch we're going to do is called a double treble in the UK. If you're in the USA, this is a treble crochet. If you're in the USA, this is a treble crochet stitch. If you're in the UK, it's a double treble crochet stitch. So we're going to chain 4 to begin with. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That counts as your first double treble. So what we're going to do is we're going to put 16 double trebles into this circle part. So this counts as your first double treble, this one here. Wrap your yarn twice around your hook, so it looks like you've got 3 stitches. Go inside your big loop, pull your yarn through. So now you've got 4 loops on your hook. Yarn over your hook, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. We need 16 all together. So we're going to put another 14 double trebles into this ring. Yep, wrap your yarn twice, 1, 2, into the hole, pull through, you've got 4 loops, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Wrap your yarn around your hook twice and back into that big space and do your double treble. So now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to keep doing that until we've got a count of 16. So I've got my 16 double trebles inside my circle. Now I'm going to pull the tail end of my little circle and tighten in that middle. Give it a good pull. And that is why I like the magic circle, because you've got no hole in the middle. We'll stitch this in later. Now you're going to slip stitch to join this round to the 4th stitch in that chain that we did. We did a chain of 4, so we're going to slip stitch into the top of that one. And that completes that round. Now what you're going to do is, you're going to slip into that first space. Do a slip stitch into that first space like that. We're going to chain 4, and again this is going to count as your first double treble. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to chain 1 more, because that's going to count as your double treble plus a chain 1. So chain 5, that counts as your first double treble and your first chain 1. Yarn around your hook twice and go into the chain space, into the space between these 2 stitches. We're going in there and we're going to do 1 double treble and then chain 1. We're going to go into the next space between these 2 stitches, yarn around twice, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over and through 2 loops, and chain 1. You're going to do that all the way around. Remember that chain 1. And we're going between the stitches. So we should end up with 16 stitches and 16 spaces. Chain 1 into the next one and chain 1. Yarn around twice into the next space and chain 1. All the way around. Done my double treble and my chain 1 all the way around. Now don't worry if it starts to look like this. It will flatten down, so don't worry about it. What you're going to do is, you're going to slip stitch into the 4th chain space of that 5 that we did at the beginning. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that'll count as your double treble plus your 1 chain space. So slip through there. Now don't worry that if it looks like that, don't worry about it. It's going to straighten out and it's going to stretch out. So the next round, what you're going to do is, you're going to slip stitch into that space. Put your hook through, pull your yarn through and just slip stitch. And that'll be you working with this space here. You're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4. That counts as your first double treble. Yarn over twice and go into that same space. Finish your double treble. We're going to chain 2, 1 and 2. Now you're going to put 2 double trebles into the next space. Chain 2, put 2 into the next space, chain 2 and put 2 into the next space. All the way around. So I've done my chain 2. So I'm going to put 2 double trebles into this space here. Chain 2 and 2 double trebles into the next big space. Chain 2, 1, 2, 2 into the next one, chain 2, 2 into that one and chain 2. So we're going to do that all the way around your circle. Then you'll slip stitch to the top of this chain of 4 here. So I'll do that and I'll come back and show you what to do next. So I'm going to slip stitch to the top of this chain of 4, and that's going to complete this round. So just slip stitch to there. Now we're going to put a slip stitch in between here because we need to start in this big chain 2 space. So just slip stitch your way along into that space, because this is where we're going to start. We're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. That counts as your first double treble crochet. Twice around your hook wrap your yarn twice around your hook, into the space, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, and yarn over and pull through 2. We need to count 7 altogether, and count that chain as your first one. That's 1, 2. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, and our last one, 7. Remember and wrap that yarn twice around your hook when you begin. We're going to skip to the next chain 2 space here. We're going to put 1 treble crochet into that space. It's going to pull that end of your cluster down. We're going to move over into the next chain 2 space, and we're going to put 7 double trebles into that space. So yarn over your hook twice and just go straight into that space. Go straight into that space. That's 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. And 7. Skip over to the next chain space, and we're just going to put 1 treble crochet. If you're in the USA, that's a double crochet. So 1 treble crochet into the next space, jump to the next space, and we're going to put 7 double treble crochets, and that's going to make your little flower pattern around this edge. So 7 double treble crochets into this space, 1 treble crochet into that space, all the way around, and you should finish on 1 treble crochet into that space, and we'll join it to here to complete that round. So I'm going to do that, and I'll come back and show you what to do next. So this is what we have. We've got our 7 double trebles, 1 treble into the next space, 7 double trebles. I'm going to put my last single treble, just a normal treble crochet, a double crochet if you're in the USA, into that space, and then I'm going to join on to the top of this chain of 4 that we did. Just slip stitch to finish that round on to there. What we're going to do now is we're going to chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. What we're going to do now is we're going to put a double crochet into the 4th double treble in this cluster of 7. So count 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now into the top of that one, you're just going to do a double crochet. That's a single crochet in the USA. We're just going to put that chain 5 and attach it to the middle of that set of 7. So that's your 4th one. You're going to chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to do a double crochet on the top of this treble crochet that we've got here. 1 double crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So the next one's got a set 7. Count 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches along. It should be your 4th post, and do your double crochet. 1 double crochet, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Double crochet into the top of that single treble that's there, chain 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 into there. That takes us into the top of that set of 7, post number 4. Chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, double crochet into the top of your treble crochet that's here, chain 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, count 4 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to go into that fourth one, chain 5, double crochet into that treble one there on its own, chain 5, count 4 stitches, chain 5 into that treble crochet and then chain 5 and into the top and count 4 stitches into the top of that set of 7 all the way around, and we're just going to slip stitch down into here. So this is what we've got now. I'm going to just slip stitch. I've done my last chain 5 and I'm going to slip stitch. That's my first chain there, and I'm just going to slip stitch into the bottom of that one. There we go. What you're going to do now is you're going to slip into this first chain space. Just put your hook through, pull your yarn through and pull through, and that's us working in that first space there. You're going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now into this space we're going to put 4 double trebles. That's counting as the first one, that's 5. So we need 5 double trebles. That one counts as your first double treble, that chain. So we need to put 4 into this space. We'll chain 1 and then we'll put 4 into this space. We'll chain 1 and put 4 into this space all the way around. So yarn over your hook twice into the chain and finish your double treble. Around again. That's another one. So we'll count the chain as your first one. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more makes 5. Chain 1. You've got to remember and do the chain 1. That's what keeps your flower flat by doing your chain 1. It's going to keep it nice and flat like this. So we've done our chain 1 and we're going to go into this chain space, yarn around twice and put 5 double trebles into this chain space. I like this stitch because it crochets up really quickly and it grows fast as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, one more. It's 5. Chain 1 and 5 into the next space. Chain 1. So we're going to do that all the way around your circle. We're going to do 5 double trebles, chain 1, 5 double trebles, chain 1, all the way around. So this is what we have now, and it's looking really, really nice. Now what we're going to do is, the top of that chain of 4, we're just going to slip stitch 1, 2, 3, 4 into the 4th chain and close this round off. That one to go through there. So we're just closing that round, and that's that round done. So what we're going to do now Pretty easy, this one. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we're going to put one double treble crochet into each stitch around. We'll put one into the space, the chain space there, and put one into the top of each of these set of 5, one into the space and one above there. So yarn over twice and into the top of the stitch. 1, 2, and into the top of the next stitch, all the way around your circle. This is really nice yarn to work with, even though it's only 99 pence a ball. Now when you get to the chain space, put one into the space, one double treble into the space, and one into the next stitch, one into the next stitch, all the way around. One double treble into each stitch and one into the chain space, one above each stitch and one into the chain space, all the way around, and then I'll come back and show you how to start the cross section. And I'll move this one out the way and I'll put this one down. So far we've done this section, we've done this one, and now we're on this round here. And then we'll start doing our crosses. We'll start doing the lace part of the blanket. So we'll finish this one and I'll come back and show you how to do these crosses. We have now. I've done all my double trebles, one above each of the stitches that have been done and one above the chain space. I'm going to go into the 4th stitch on that very first chain of 4 and slip stitch to join my round. Now don't worry if it's going up like this. Don't worry, it will flatten out, and as you can see it is starting to stretch out. The bigger you make this, it's going to make this stretch out and you'll see that lovely pattern there. Now what we're going to do is a cross stitch. The cross stitch is done in a triple treble stitch. A triple treble. If you're in the USA, that's a double treble. Now in the UK, it's a triple treble. What we're going to do is, I'm going to explain this. I'll show you how to do the stitch. You're going to do a chain of 4 to begin. And then what we're going to do is, we're going to work into this stitch on the right. Then we will move back when we do the next cross. We'll skip this stitch, we'll work to the left. For the very first one on each row, you'll do your chain and you'll work to the right. And then you'll go back and start working on each of 2 stitches. So we'll chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And this is still high enough for the triple treble. Now you're going to wind your yarn around your loop 3 times. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. So you're going to work back to this stitch right beside your chain. So hold your stitches on like this. Take your hook around that chain, bring it to the front and go in to that stitch. Pull your yarn through like this. Yarn over, through 2 loops, yarn over, through 2 loops, yarn over, through 2 loops, and yarn over and through 2 loops. So you've got your first crossover stitch. I'll show you that again. Let me just gently pull that out. I'll show you again. We're going into this stitch here. Just at the beginning of every round, you're going to do your chain and work back to that stitch, and then we'll work around that way. So wrap the yarn around your hook 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So it looks like you've got 4 stitches on your hook. Just hold it, and you're going to go between your yarn and around the back of the chain, and from the front go into that stitch like that. Pull your yarn through, so you've crossed it over. That chain is crossed over. Yarn around your hook, through 2 loops, around your hook, through 2 loops, around your hook, through 2 loops, and around and through the last 2. Wrap your yarn 1, 2, 3. Remember and do it 3 times. Now we're going to work this way, we're going to work that way. Skip that stitch, and we're going to work into the top of the next stitch. Put your hook through, pull your yarn through. Yarn over, through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, through 2 and through those last 2. Yarn over 1, 2, 3. We're going to work back into that space that we just missed, into the stitch that we just missed. So go in through there and push your hook through from the front to the back and pull through. Yarn over through 2 loops, over through 2 loops, over through 2 loops and through your last 2. And that gives you your next cross. Skip the next stitch. Now you can see that my circle's turned up like this. Don't worry about that. Once we've done all these little crosses, it'll all lay flat and it'll all start to stretch out. And this is what you're getting. You're getting these nice crosses. I'll bring the yellow one in. It's a beautiful lemon, this. So what we're doing is this. We're creating this first line of crosses. But this is what we're on. We're on this round here. We're going to do 2 rounds the same. This round and this round. And as you can see, the weight of the blanket pulls it all out and makes it a beautiful lace shawl. So yarn over 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Skip this stitch. Work into this next stitch. Through both parts of your stitch. Like that. Pull your yarn through. And it looks like you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. Yarn over. Pull through 2 loops. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and through the last 2. Now that's the stitch we skipped. So yarn over 1, 2 and 3 and work in. You're going, make sure you don't go that way. If you go that way, you'll lose one of your loops. Hold your yarn and go in from the back to the front and then into that stitch. So what you're doing is you're going into the front and there's your stitch there. Put your hook through that stitch. Pull your yarn back. Yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2, yarn over, through 2 and through your last 2. Now what I'm going to tell you is make sure you do both parts of the cross. If you need to go and make yourself a cup of coffee, make sure, or a cup of tea, or go and have your dinner, or pick up the kids from school, anything like that, make sure you finish off the cross and then put it down. There's been plenty of times where I've done one part of the stitch, put my crochet down, and just continued when I picked it up, and had to rip it all the way back because I didn't do the second part of that cross stitch. So make sure you complete the cross stitch before you put it down and go and do something. You find, not this one, you're going to find your chain of 4. This one here, you're going to slip stitch into the top of the chain. So not that one, don't pull it like that. You want to take the chain, the one where we started with the chain 4, and you're going to slip stitch into the top of that chain 4 and finish this round. Now you'll notice mine is going like this. Don't panic. Don't panic when you see it going like that. You'll smooth it out. As you build up your shawl, this will all flatten and spread out. So don't panic about it. What we're going to do now is we're going to put one chain in between each of our next crosses. So we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to work to the right with that first stitch there. You're going to put your triple treble into that stitch there, and then we'll work back that way. This keeps the pattern correct. It keeps the crosses in the right place above each other. Go 3 times around your hook and work into that stitch. And that one's going to put that sort of over the top of that. Chain 1. Remember this round, the chain 1. Now you're going to skip that stitch and work into that stitch. So it's like the stitch in between your crosses. So 1, 2, 3 times around your hook and skip that stitch and go into this stitch. Work your triple treble. If you're in the USA, this is a double treble. 1, 2, 3 times around your hook and work back to that stitch there that you skipped. Finish that one. Chain 1. Remember your chain 1. This is what's going to widen and keep this flat. So we're doing a chain 1 in between. It's going to keep this flat. So we're going to skip this stitch and work into this stitch here. 1, 2, 3 times around the hook and into the stitch that's there. And work a triple treble. Now 3 times around the hook. 1, 2, 3, and work through the gap and into the stitch that we missed, into that stitch there. We'll work that triple treble and then chain 1, chain 1. We're going to do that all the way around. Now remember that chain 1 because that's what's going to keep your blanket flat. So this is what we have now. I've almost finished this row where we've done our cross stitch and our one chain in between. Now you're going to find the chain of 4 that we started with, and again don't take this one because that means that's not going to be crossed over. You're going to go into the 4th link on that chain 4. Push your hook through pull through and slip stitch to join that round. So now we're going to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now remember, the beginning of each row you've got to go forward to that stitch there and then work that way. So yarn over 3 times, 1, 2, 3, and you're going to come behind the chain and go into this stitch here, the one that's above this. We're going into this stitch. Push your hook through, pull your yarn through, put up there, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, through the next 2, yarn over through the last 2. So that's what our first cross from. We're going to chain 2, 1, 2. Skip that stitch there, and we're going to go into this stitch that's here, this stitch here. 1, 2, 3, and into the stitch. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to work back that stitch that we missed that's in between the crosses here. And chain 2, 1, 2, and do the same again. We're going to skip this stitch and work into this stitch here. So we're skipping the stitch that's in between that cross, and we're going into the stitch that's here. 1, 2, 3, and into the stitch. 1, 2, 3, and work back into the stitch that's in between that cross. And then we'll chain 2, 1 and 2. Now we're going to do that all the way around, and when we get to your cross to here, use your chain, the chain of 4, and you're going to slip stitch to the top of the chain of 4. Then you're going to do 2 more rounds. Do 2 more rounds, and you're going to have 3 stitches. You're going to have 3 chains in between your 2 crosses. So after this row, your next 2 rows, you'll have 3 chains in between your cross stitch. You just do it the same as the rows that we've just done, but we're increasing the amount of chains in between the cross stitch. So I'll get that done on mine, you do that on yours, and I'll come back when we've finished our second row of our 3 chains. There we go, we are here, we're doing 2 chains in between the crosses. After that you'll do 2 more rounds, but you'll put 3 chains in between each cross. You're going to put 3 chains in here, do your cross, 3 chain in here, do your cross stitch, 3 chains here, and then do your next cross stitch, and do that for 2 rounds. And then I'll come back and show you how to add the extra cross stitches into this next round. And so this is what we have now. I've got my rosette in the middle, I've got my first set of crosses, the second set has 1 chain in between, the third row has 2 chains in between, then I've done 2 more rows with 3 chains in between. So this row and this row have 3 chains in between. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to put extra crosses in. So I'm going to chain 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. And I'm going to go into the space, 1, 2, 3 times around your hook, and we're going to go just around and into the space like that. Pull your hook through, yarn over through your stitches like this. So this second one we'll put into this space. Now we're going to work back this way. We're going to put the first part of our cross into the space and the second part into this stitch here. So 1, 2, 3 times around your hook and go into the big chain space and do your triple treble. Now you're going to do your 3 windings on the yarn. You're going through here and you're going into this space that's here in between this cross and pull through and finish that one. We're not doing any chain spaces, no chain spaces this time. So here we've got a chain space, you've got 2 stitches and a chain space. So we're going into this first stitch here, into there, finish the triple treble, 1, 2, 3 times around your hook. Now we're just going to go into the space, go through the gap and around the chain and pull through. So no chain this time. So we're going to go into the chain space and then into this stitch that's here. So we're going to use the chain space and use that stitch there. We'll work back to that stitch. So 1, 2, 3 times around the hook, into the chain space, finish that stitch. 1, 2, 3 times around the hook, into the space, and we're going to work into that stitch there. Just go through that stitch and pull through and finish that triple treble. No chains in between. So what you're doing is you're going to have the crosses will be slightly offset now, but that doesn't matter. It'll be okay once we start doing the other rows. I'm going to just slip stitch into my chain of 4. So find the chain of 4 on that very first step, and I'm going into the top of that chain of 4. And slip stitch through. Now it's getting a little bit big for the video recorder, but this is what it's looking like now. And like I say, I keep saying, the further out you go, then this is all going to stretch open. It's all going to stretch open and it'll be absolutely beautiful. So what I'm going to have to do now is I want to keep my cross above this one. So I need to slip stitch over to here. So I'm going to go through that stitch and slip stitch, and I'm going to slip stitch into this stitch in between these 2 crosses. I want to start here, and that way it's going to keep my crosses beside each other. So I'm going to chain 4, you'll see what I mean in a minute, 3 and 4. Wrap my yarn twice, 3 times round. Now I'm going to go back to that one and then work round that way. It keeps the pattern all symmetrical doing that. So just for this one row, I'm going to go in to that stitch and working back just one stitch to the right. So I've worked back just one stitch and it's going to keep that cross above that one. So chain 1 and we're going to skip this stitch. We're going to skip this stitch and work into this stitch here. So yarn over 3 times and into the stitch between the cross and work a triple treble. Yarn over 3 times and through the gap and into the stitch that we skipped. And finish off that triple treble. Now chain one, remember your chain one. So we're going to skip this stitch and work into the stitch that's above the cross. 1, 2 and 3. Make sure you wrap around the right amount of time. 1, 2, 3 and work back into that mid stitch that's there. You can run out. Going to chain one and skip the next stitch and work into the top of this one. And that's what we're going to do all the way around. We're going to do 2 rounds like that. So once you get back to here, you'll slip stitch into the top of your chain of 4. That'll pull that one into the proper cross shape. And then do one more round where you've got 1 chain in between. So your next 2 rounds are 1 chain in between your crosses. I'll get that done and I'll come back and show you the next round. I've done the increase cross round. I've done 2 rows with 1 chain in between my crosses. I've done 2 rows with 1 chain. I'm going to do 3 rows with 2 chain in between the crosses, and then I'm going to do 3 rows with 3 chains in between the crosses. Now you don't need to see me doing that, because it's the same as these ones, where you're doing the cross the same way, but you're putting a chain in between them. So these 2 rows have got 1 chain. The next 3 rows will have 2 chains in between, and the last 3 rows will have 3 chains in between. I will show you. Look how pretty that pink is. It's a beautiful pink, and at 19p a ball is unbelievable. And this is the lemon one, and it's so soft. You can see how soft this came out. So here we are on this one. This is our increase here, and I've done my 2 rows of 1 chain in between. Now I'm going to do 3 rows with 2 chains in between each cross, and then 3 rows with 3 chains, and that's going to spread your blanket out. If you've got more than 2 balls of yarn, then feel free to add some more extra rounds with 3 chains. I think you can get up to 5 with 3 chains before you need to change it to 4 chains. If you don't put enough chains in the middle, your blanket will start to curl up like this. So once I've got those 6 rounds done, 3 with 2 chains, 3 with 3 chains in between the middle, I'll show you how I just did this very last row like this. It's just double treble crochets. It's not the triple one, it's a double one, and I'll show you how I did that. I've got 2 with no chain in between, 3 with 2, and 3 with 3 chains in between those cross stitches, because the bigger the blanket gets, the wider it's going to spread. Now I'm going to do my last round on here, but you don't have to. If you want to make your blanket even wider, then you can do some more rows, but you'll need to put 4 chains in between, because it'll start to curl up like this. If you continue just with 3 chain, it'll start to curl. So I'm stopping there with mine. I've measured it. This is 38 inches all the way along, all the way across. It's 38 inches. So what we're going to do for this last row, if I get my hook, I want to point out as well, if you're having difficulty keeping your crosses above each other, when you do the very first one, you might need to slip stitch over to here. So just reminding you that you might need to slip stitch. I'll show you when I join it. This needs 3 chain, 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to slip stitch to my chain, not to the one that's here, but to this one that's crossing over, to this chain that I've got here, my chain of 4. I'm going to slip stitch into the top of my chain of 4 and finish that round. Now if you were doing another round, I know that you probably watched the video before you make the blanket, you might need to slip stitch around to the beginning of the cross so that you're up here, and then you work to that one and then work back that way, the way I've been showing you. But just remember to slip stitch across there. I'll take that back out. So just remember, if you're going to make this blanket and your crosses are not lining up, it'll be this first one. Just remember and slip stitch across to here and then put your other cross in, then work that way, the way I've explained it. I want to go over and start in here, so I'm going to slip stitch across and into that space there. So we're starting in the space. You can start there if you want, but it looks prettier if you have the proper stitch on top of that cross, and then we'll sort of, and then the chain will blend in with those 4. So I'm going to do a chain, 1, 2, a chain of 3, wrap my yarn around twice, and I'm going to put another 3 double trebles into this space. That's 1, 2, and 3. So that makes 4. The chain counts as your first one, 1, 2, 3, and 4. In the USA, this is called a treble crochet. In the UK, it's a double treble. The ones down here are triple treble. What you're going to do now is in the top of the cross stitch that you've got in your crossover, in the space, you're going to put 1 double treble into the top of there, into the space, and then 4 into this big space. So wrap your yarn twice around the hook. That's 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to put 1 into the space in our cross. So yarn over twice, just go right through the cross, the space, finish your double treble, and then put 4 into this space. We'll put 1 into the space in the cross, and 4 into here. 1 into the space in the cross, 4 into here, all the way around. All the way around like the lemon one. Put that the right way around. So we're going to do that all the way around the blanket to finish it off. I just need to join my last double treble to the top of that chain that we did at the beginning. It's going to slip, just slip stitch through. I can get it through. There we are. Slip stitch into there. I'll take my scissors and I'll snip that end off. Now that was all I've been left with, that ball, but 200 grams is amazing for a blanket of this size. Now I'll see if I can get this all out. I will take a picture of it on the floor, but just remember, the one thing I do want to point out, to keep your crosses in line when you first start, if you join your round and you're here, then slip stitch to the top of this one that's on this side. Do your chain of 4, work into the stitch at the side, and then work across this way. But just remember that if you do it this way and work that way, your crosses will start to spiral round like that. That might be what you're looking for. I don't know. I mean, you could try that if you want to. But this is what the shawl looks like. I'll just spin that all around. Look at that, there's loads and loads of it. Out of 2 balls of yarn, 200-gram balls of yarn, and that is the middle of it. And absolutely beautiful. That's it in the lemon, and that's it there in the pink. This is the one that we've just finished in the pink. All I need to say now is thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. Please just click on that subscribe button there. If you hit the notification bell as well, you'll be notified when I post another tutorial. So until the next time, happy crafting, and I'll see you all again soon. Goodbye.